I am aware of is something um, called the flat organization movement. And it's this very intentional idea that we need to minimize hierarchy and have some hierarchy, but the hierarchy, the type of information the hierarchy is getting involved in is like really basic stuff, like financial information, something like that. They don't, because there's just too many decisions to make, and they don't have the knowledge to make those decisions. So the idea is like if we can get our people organized and motivated, and we don't have to use like the industrial system of management where we treat everyone like crap and we don't trust them and we like make sure they're doing their stuff, and instead we like give them actual real reasons to work, and there's a real sense of how they play inside the organization. If we can manage to do those things, then we don't need as much hierarchy, because we don't need to control what they're doing to make sure that they're operating inside of the interest of the organization. So really famous, but also somewhat mysterious example of this is Valve Software, who created the game platform Steam. Valve uh, is doesn't talk a whole lot about exactly how they do it, but they are basically a flat organization. And you hear crazy stories like anybody can, once they're kind of completing a project somewhere, they can defect from a project and start their own project if they really think like, well, there's this other thing we should really be doing. They can leave and they can work on it, and then other people can come and see what they're doing, and if they like what they're doing and they think there's more value there, they can migrate their desks. All the desks are on wheels, and they're able to migrate. This is so what I've heard. I mean, that could be old information too. They may have changed this to some degree, but I've heard that there are areas where the desks are on wheels where people can move around to different projects. And if they are accepted by the group and they are excited about it, then they can get in on that project. And so naturally, some projects get amped up and grow, and other ones kind of start and fizzle. And there's an awareness of the company needs to make money. We can't just do whatever the heck we want. So it's driven by the goals of the organization. People don't just suddenly say, well, let's make doorknobs that shock you for fun. It's got to be usually a gaming technology. I know there's like some groups that decided, oh, we're going to build, virtual currency systems, virtual for our games. They got really into that. And Steam was one of those projects where somebody was of the mindset that we need some way other than CDs to distribute games, that we can build games in a way that they can be distributed by components, because these games are huge now, and they can be this platform can be a way of facilitating independent game developers and all sorts of things. So that's a big. I mean, it's a huge company. It's a big success for the flat organization community. It has its limitations. There are people who have left, who have said that they protect their culture so much that it's somewhat, in some ways, very repressive. But overall, they're doing really well, and they don't have a very very heavy duty hierarchy. And this movement's growing. There's more and more companies that are doing this. Depends on, from my sense, you really have to take a look at the environment the company is, because you want to use the right tool for the job. Hierarchies are very good at making simple decisions very quickly. They're really good for like war, for instance. We're under attack. We got to launch a missile. Hit the chain of command. Get that missile out the door. That's fantastic for a survival response. But say you're in a war that's very complicated, that's you don't know where the enemy is, and the enemies are living, they're in terrorist cells, and they're gathered throughout your population, and there's all this intelligence that needs to be gathered, and it has to be done all this analysis and all that. Then you don't want such a hierarchical system for managing it, and that's more along the lines of how the Israeli military organizes itself. So you kind of want to use the right tool for the right job. You can't just throw hierarchy out completely, but you got to recognize what it's good at and what's bad at. And in the space of innovation, flat organizations seem like, with where we use hierarchy, but we use it specifically for certain things. They seem, when done right, to perform really well. They're probably going to be, during the experimentation of this kind of new movement of organizations, there's going to be some catastrophic failures where people screw with the formula trying to figure it out. But so far it looks very positive and exciting. A lot of people are really interested in it.